So I suppose I'm curious as to why you think people might be cynical, why you think people might have made those comments to you.
Because they can't see it. People have a real big struggle with believing in things they can't see. Mm-hmm. But if you look back at any faith, through the history of time, we don't have a lot of evidence for any faith. It's all about what we believe. What I say to people is, okay, have you ever used a microwave? Yeah. Do you trust your tea's cooked once it's done? Yeah. Did you see the cooking happening? No. Did you not see the microwaves going into your food to cook it? Well, no, you can't see that. But you'll still eat that chicken. Would you eat it if it was raw? Do you know what I mean? I'll say to people, well, do you love your other half? Well, of course I do. Do they love you? Well, yes. Can you see that? Can you see the love vibes coming off them? No. But you can still feel that you are loved. Yeah. It's all the same.
Yeah, I like that.
All the same. And it's fear. It's fear.
Yeah.
People are afraid of what they don't understand. And on very personal levels, people are frightened to be powerful. Because powerful people have been pulled down through history. Powerful people have made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
We've abused, as powerful people, we've abused our positions because we didn't have the balance of the light and the dark, the head and the heart, the creative and the doing. We didn't have that balance.
Well, I'm just thinking of that last scene in The Craft. Yeah. She abused that power, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. But if you look, you had witches in there that were, doing, I can't remember what her name was, the gingery one. She
the only one who had her powers at the end of the film.
Yeah. Because she was balanced with it, and she didn't use it to abuse anyone or anything. Following the more Wiccan path, you follow the Wiccan reed, which is, as long as it doesn't harm anyone else, you or anyone else, you can kind of do what you want, which is a nice way to think about it. And you've also got the rule of three as well. Now, people who practice witchcraft don't necessarily always do this, because practicing witchcraft and having the Wiccan belief are, sometimes don't come together, and that's fine. But Wiccans believe that, you've got your rule of three, so whatever you do, whatever you put out there comes back to you threefold.
Oh, that's in the craft.
That's in the craft. And this is absolute truth. So if you do a spell to harm someone,
you get 3 times the amount of harm back.
And it doesn't mean it's going to come back in the same way, but my goodness, stuff happens. And it's that idea that you are putting out that, and it's all just negativity and intention, but we're magnets as people. So we just magnet that straight back into us.
Yeah.
And it appears in different ways, and we'll suffer just more than enough.
You could call that karma.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And whether, you address it through magic spells or even just thoughts. But what I always say to people is that, if you are working magic, if you're doing a spell and it's a bit of a tricky situation, you've got somebody else involved who you are maybe carrying not so pleasant thoughts about, and we're human, we do, stay away from the spell work. Because you cannot, or you'd have to be a very, very well-disciplined person to be able to make so say, for example, someone at work was bullying you. You find yourself being bullied, being pushed back by this person at work, and it's not nice. My advice would be, okay, leave the bully alone. You focus on you. You do spells for courage. You do spells for self-empowerment. You do spells for new job opportunity, even if that's what you'd rather do. Leave the other person out of it.
Oh, shame. I was just going to go, well, my ex.
Yeah. But you know what? These people are all on their own journeys.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds really cliched and cheesy, but they're doing the best with what they've got right now.
Yeah.
And if we look at some of those lovely compassion goddesses, they would teach us that we're all just humans and we all fuck up sometimes.
Exactly.
And sometimes we don't know who we are. We don't know why we're doing things. And also we don't know why that person's behaving that way. We don't know why we are triggering that person. And you could go into it and look at the whole reflection thing and everything else about, how we see, others, what we don't like about ourselves. And there's a lot of different thoughts behind it. So you come back and you go, right, well, I'm going to do a protection spell, and I'm going to do a spell for self-empowerment, and I'm going to keep this bully off my back because I'm going to be confident next time I go into the office, and I'm going to speak my truth and say whatever, and I'm going to do all my spells. Do you think if someone was really bullying you and making you feel bad, you'd be able to do a spell for self-empowerment without thinking, that bitch? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you might not be doing that spell to do something bad to that person at work, but that thought would be in your mind, I'm doing this because she's been a cow to me. I'm doing this because she's made me feel like shit. And then, we can't really control what goes on when the momentum of those thoughts starts to run. And before we know it, we're sending out negative thoughts. And we may feel like we're doing a spell for self-empowerment, but actually all we're doing is just feeding this negative cycle of unpleasantness, I guess.
Yeah.
The power that comes out of the intention and thoughts in our mind is way stronger than any word that can come out of our mouth.
And if you've got the power to cast this spell in a completely objective way, you're probably not that impacted by the bullying.
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely.